Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Kolbuck, a social media expert. If you want to save time on social media and get a plan in place, this digital training is for you. I'm going to be talking about my free content calendar for the duration of this training. If you don't have a copy yet, just head down to the description below and you can get your copy now. Let's dive into using a content calendar and how it's going to set you up for success on social media, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, maybe TikTok, but ultimately using a tool like this is really going to differentiate how you show up, where you show up, and the ability to do it consistently. So who am I? If you're brand new to learning about me, and thank you for being here. I've worked in social media strategy for well over 12 years now, lots of that time with big corporate multinational businesses, but now I really specialize in the one-to-one of helping small businesses who are showing up in their community and want to be making an impact and want to use social media in a way that is approachable and fun. I'm also a parent to two small human beings, and so I don't want social media to take up all of my time, and I want the same thing for you. I want you to use social media in a way that's empowering and enables you to run your business. And I live out here on the beautiful west coast of Canada. I would love to hear where you're tuning in from in the comments below. I always start with a quote. I feel like it's good to kind of know what we're diving into before we get into the training. And if and when you're ready to get serious about social media, it's time for a plan. If you were going to take out an ad in the newspaper or an ad in a magazine or, invest in your SEO, you would have a plan for that. You wouldn't wing it. You wouldn't just scratch out some copy on the back of a napkin and send it to the newspaper editor. You would have a plan and you would take it seriously. And so if you want your social media to perform the same way other digital assets perform for your business, then it's time to get a plan in place. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over this pretty succinctly, but I hope you'll watch through to the end. We're going to talk about using the content calendar and exactly how to set it up. We're going to talk about the content pillars and a few examples there. And then finally, we're going to go into actually just how to start very simply using the content calendar right away so that you can start mapping out your content. So I'd like to start with a quiz. You can kind of just say yes or no in your head or share with me in the comments below. Are you currently planning out your content at least a week in advance? Do you have core pillars of content? And when I say those words, do you know what they are? Are you using a tool to schedule your content? And finally, are you repurposing or resharing any of your content? And do you even know which content you would reshare? If you don't have 4 yeses, that's okay. We're going to answer a lot of those in the questions here today. And I also answer a lot more questions like that on my Instagram account. I'll share the link to that below as well so that you can find out more information there. But at the end of this training, you're going to know how to plan out your content in advance, what your content pillars are, and where to go from there. So why do you need a content calendar at all? I know some of you might be on the fence. You might have other digital tools that you've tried and perhaps failed using in the past. For me, the proof is really in the pudding. I know that when I show up and when I help my clients show up with a plan and we decide on the purpose of their social media, we map out the plan, we map out their goals, that's when things really start to take off. We know that social media needs us to be consistent. We can no longer just post one day a week, one quick photo on Instagram, and hope that's enough for our brand. We've got to be showing up 3, 4, 5 days a week with good, valuable on-brand content to really make a headway in these very noisy spaces. Ultimately, I know if you're an entrepreneur, a small business owner, I totally understand how busy you are. And so I want you to save time. So by doing the planning in advance with a tool like this, you're going to save time because you're not going to be scrambling every day, wondering what you're going to post about. And finally, of course, I want you to get those results. By showing up consistently with quality content, that's when we start to move the dial on social media. So the first thing I'm going to do is just show you this. I'm going to do a live demo with the content calendar in just a moment. But if you've just clicked the link below and you're wondering how to edit, the first thing you're going to need to do is make a copy. So if you're a Google Drive user, you can make a copy to your own Google Drive. That'll give you the ability to now edit your copy. Conversely, if you're an Excel user or you want to download it to your desktop, you can do that as well. It will download as an Excel file. Thirdly, you can also print it. If you like good old pen and paper, you can absolutely print it. Make sure you choose a landscape for your printer option so you can print off the beautiful pages and you can fill it out as best needed for your business there. So let's talk about content pillars just a little bit. I do much deeper trainings on this, and you can find more of those linked below. But at a really high level, the content pillar sheet that we're going to start with when we go to the live demo is really just some categories for you to think about your content. Lots of people are good in one or two categories, but rarely all three. If you're a service provider, especially, I find we often struggle in the third category. So at a high level, I find in many businesses, we really want to show up with value. And where is that value going to be represented? By sharing your knowledge in the area that you're an expert in. So sharing those tips, sharing that little pieces of advice. That could be showing how to use your products if you're a product-based business. And if you're a service-based business, of course, showing us some of the behind the scenes, some of the value, some of the tools and wins that you have for your clients. The second category, again, really speaking again to entrepreneurs, small business owners, service providers especially, is showing me who you are. People want to buy from people. No matter how big or small your company is, people connect when there's other human beings involved. So showing up as a human being, this is where that content comes into place. I want to know what makes you tick. What's your story? What's your journey? Why did you get into the business that you are, and what's been your story arc so far? And then finally, yes, of course, we can always have sales content on social media. We just want to make sure we don't always have just sales content on social media. So by all means, tell us how to work with you. Tell us where we can buy your products. Just make sure that we've got a nice mix. The goal of this sheet is meant to kind of be your brainstorm dumping ground. You can put anything and everything you like into this sheet. No idea here is a bad idea. The goal then is as you use some of those ideas, you can maybe take some notes about what worked, and you can tick off the ones that you've already used, and of course, generate more ideas from here. So think of this as kind of just your notebook place to put any and all ideas that come to you, possibly in these content pillars. Now, I love color coding. There's lots of color coding in the sheet itself. So this is a quick recap here. I won't read them all because they're already in the sheet, and I'm going to go through it live. You can color code the sheet, though, any way you like it. If you don't like the colors that I've chosen, make it your own. You can remove the colors altogether. The goal of the colors is to make sure we've got a variety of content. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that you've got some FAQ posts in there, that we've got a testimonial each month, that we've got a post about you or a team member that we're spotlighting. And so for me, when I zoom out and I can see the mix of colors, I know I'm hitting different pieces, different content pillars in different types of content. If I zoom in and all I see are one type of color, that's usually when we're missing some of the pieces of content. So pick out the colors that work for you. For example, blog posts. If you don't have a blog, that's okay. You just delete those pieces of content and insert something else that will work for your business. So let's dive into that live demo now. So again, if you're looking for the content calendar, you might already have it in your inbox if you're an email subscriber, or just look in the description below and I'll drop the link there as well. So let me just get set up here as I just switch tabs to the training version of the content calendar. Okay, so this is the content calendar now that you can see here. Let's make it a bit bigger so you can follow along. When you get your copy of the content calendar, here's how your first thing you're going to do. You're going to click File, and from there, you're going to click Make a Copy, or conversely, Download. So that's the very first thing you're going to do when you get the content calendar. Now I'm walking you through the 2022 content calendar today. If you're watching this in the future, I'll be updating the link below every year or as edits are made to the content calendar, so know that you'll have the most up-to-date version for what you need. On this tab here, this is kind of just like the Start Here tab. It's always a good place to go back to if you're looking for more instructions on how to use the content calendar and some more ideas for your business. And I've got my contact details there. So if you have any questions along the way or you're getting stuck somewhere, please, of course, email me, give me a shout, and I'd be happy to help. Let's go through now what each of the tabs are below. So for the content pillars, that's exactly what we were just looking at before. In this one here, you can see I've got the same categories: FAQ, tips and advice, who you are, and what you sell. If you scroll further down on the sheet, you'll notice that I've got a few of these filled out. So I've given you some examples already to work with. The first one is for me, social media consultant business. And you can see here, I filled out some examples for those. So you can see exactly the FAQ column, the who I am column, and of course, what I sell as a social media consultant. Scroll down even further, I've also put one in for a product-based business. So in case you're a product-based business, again, another a small business owner, you can see here I've chosen like an eco-based store, one of the clients I worked with. And again, we broke down the same kind of, I think here, product features, the why, and of course, what they sell and who the business is. So a little bit of anonymization there, but just some examples of how you can set up your content pillars to best work for your business. The next tab I really like is just kind of a quick overview here. And this is called the 12-month overview tab. The purpose of this tab is just at a really, really high level in your business. What are the key launches you might have, the key dates, the key promotions, maybe some really important milestones or anniversaries that you just want to mark down. They might repeat even every year so that you don't forget it. So often for me, I've got some different coaching that starts at different points of the year. I've also got my own birthday that I put on here, and I've got a business anniversary that I'm going to denote every year. So it's just a really good place for me to know at a very high level what some of the big programs and events I have coming up for 2022. Then we get into this one. I love this one. It's kind of a secret power tab here, and it's called Writing Ideas. In this tab, one of the things people often struggle with is opening up and telling their story. I found when I'm working, especially with service providers, they're not really sure where their story or where their voice comes in. So these are where that comes in. There's 180 prompts in here. And the goal of these is just to get you thinking about different types of content. Example, explain a myth in your industry. No matter what industry you are in, I am sure there are myths abound and misinformation, or maybe you have a different take on something. And so this can be used as kind of an FAQ style post for, kind of dispelling a myth in your industry. Things to meditation. How do you find your Zen? Is the meditation a part of your daily routine, or do you wish it was a part of your daily routine? Things about different trends, how you feel about a trend in your industry. Another great example of showing up with, okay, this trend is happening. What's your take on it? What's your unique perspective based on your certain years of experience or based on other background you might have? What can you share on that? So like I said, there's 180 different ideas in here. Now, not all of them are going to be a fit for your business. The goal, go through and choose 50. Start with 10 even, and just highlight the cells that stand out to you. What motivates you to keep moving forward? If you've got a good story about that, highlight that one and know that's a good talking point that you can put in somewhere in your content calendar. So lots of juicy ideas in this one. Really take some time to read through and see what ideas are going to resonate with you the most. Then we get into the months of the year. I'm going to start just in January. It's a good place to start. And each of the months here will look somewhat similar. We've got the months and the days all laid out in your beautiful calendar format, so you don't have to think about which day is where. And then I've already put in for you some writing prompts and ideas. So if you're really not sure where to get started and you're brand new to planning for social media, you can use some of the prompts that are already here for your business. So let's look at January 2022. Of course, new year, new you, new goals, new motivation is going to be top of mind for almost every industry. So I've put in a lot of kind of date specific ones here for January. So looking at January, of course, we've got a couple of holidays to recognize: New Year's Day, a few other what I call social media days I've put in here: National Pie Day, Mental Health Awareness Day. The January blues, apparently the most depressing day of the year. And then I've put in some other ones relevant to the beginning of the year: 3 predictions for your industry, goal setting, new products launching, things like that that are going to be tied into the beginning of the year. The rest of the content, however, can be used anytime. And the goal with this mix is to find a few prompts here that will kind of trigger your creativity and help you think about what else you might want to add. So I always like to do an introduction post in the beginning of the year. You've probably had new followers along the way. Reintroduce yourself to your audience. Inspirational quotes, kind of an easy one. Again, if you're busy and getting caught up from the holidays, is there a quote or something memorable or notable that you want to share, and kind of a quick, easy win? And then I do have an FAQ style post every single week, because again, we always want to be showing up with value. Customer testimonial, I've got one in every single month, because I always think it's great to be sharing those wins for your clients or for your customers, and letting their voice kind of sell your products and services on your behalf. And then I do also have what I call in here 2 sales kind of posts, as a remember. So a sales caption from the template and a sales another sales one I filled in here. So a sales kind of connection one. So the point of these sales posts are to think about different things that you might sell each month, and think about how you want to phrase them. So you're going to pick two kind of spots every month where you've kind of got more salesy type content going in there. And then the goal here then is, as you go through the months, you kind of, zoom out a little bit, see what works, see what doesn't work. And then from there, you can always modify and move things around. So if there's going to be lots of stuff in here that doesn't work, and that's okay. Looking ahead here to March, if I'm like, okay, St. Patrick's Day, maybe that's not an important holiday for you, we can just delete that one. If we had like a big launch going out this week, maybe I've got a new product launch here, new product launch, apologize for my typing. And I might have a whole week kind of dedicated to this product launch coming out. And so I might want to have a lot of new content about a specific new product launch. But that's kind of the purpose of each of the months. So at a high level, you get a few content prompts for the month. Some of them will work, some of them won't. So right away, start putting in those key dates that are going to work for your industry. What absolutely do you need to have every month? And then what other types of content based on your content pillars do you need to flesh out a little bit more? If I kind of jump ahead right to the very last tab, and this is optional, this I call the Master Content Planner. If again, you're new to social media and you're just looking for a bit more organization and a way to stay organized all in one place with your social media, I love this idea. The purpose of this tab is to keep kind of a visual record of what you're posting along with your captions and hashtags if relevant. This is also a really nice tool to use if you do have someone else helping you out with social media. Maybe you have a social media manager, maybe you're working with a VA or a virtual assistant, and you need a tool to kind of collaborate and easily make changes on the fly. So for me, I have used this with various clients in kind of different formats or help them get set up with it. But the purpose here is we just drop in the image. If it was a video file, you could just take a screenshot to drop it in here. You've got the caption, the hashtags, and then of course you can leave in any comments or approval rankings that you might need. If you want to add more images, just click on the cell, click insert. Oh, where we go here, insert and then image. Hold on. Insert image and then insert image into cells and then pick that relevant image for you. So I like this tab if you're looking for a place to get organized. The big takeaway for me here is keep your captions somewhere saved. If your captions only live on Instagram, it's going to be much harder to repurpose some of that content later. Also harder if anything ever gets lost on Instagram, you just don't have a record of it. So I'm always going back and kind of stealing little bits from past captions before. And so by having a way that's nice and easily laid out where I can see them all, this is great. Now you could use this tool on a monthly basis. You could just kind of keep it running for the whole year. Again, take what you need from here and really make it your own. So that's the inside of the content planner. Obviously, there's lots of stuff you can kind of work through. For me, it's really take some time to go through each of the months. Think about what some of those key events might be for you. What content do you need in advance? And then go through the writing ideas and start plugging in some of the writing ideas. Let's jump back into the presentation now, just to recap what we've just gone through. Okay, so recapping what we just went through, when I'm looking at the content calendar and I'm really just starting with that high level content planning, this is exactly the process I do with my clients and for myself. So the first thing I start with, really high level. What are the holidays that are coming up? What are the events that might be happening in your industry? What launches do you have coming up, whether that's a product launch or a service launch or a course or something like that? But anything that's got a date tied to the calendar, put those ones in first. Those are going to be the anchor pieces of content that we have to create. Then I think about, okay, what's happening before? So let's talk about a product launch. The day it launches, that's great. But what am I going to talk about the week or two leading up to that to get my audience ready? What are some of the pain points they have now that my upcoming product or service is going to alleviate? What objections might they have, whether it's price or how they access it or how it's designed? And how can I overcome some of those objections even before they have them? So I'm always looking at least 2 weeks out from a launch to think about what else do I need to kind of prime my audience with so that before I launch, they're already ready. They're already kind of looking for this product or service. So when I do launch it, it's going to seem that much more in aligned with what I've been talking about. And then finally, what else do I need to share? Once I've gotten those key pieces of information down, what else do I need to flesh out my calendar with? If I seem to have a lot of sales content with a launch, okay, what non-salesy content? How am I going to show up and make a connection? How am I going to show up with extra value for my audience? So that's where I go back in and then kind of sprinkle some of those other types of content so that I'm giving a nice, well-rounded version of what's happening on social media and not just sales content all the time. So some of my final tips and pro takeaways before we wrap up here are, I always tell people always want to know, how many times do I have to post? And more is certainly better, but I also am a big believer in protecting your mental health and having time away from our screens. So I say, let's aim for 3 to 5 times a week. 3 on maybe the lower side of things, maybe it's a slower time of the year for you or closed for your business. Keep things going, we're keeping things alive. As we get closer to 5, we're showing up more consistently, and now we're making more headway on social media. When possible, I do believe in scheduling tools, but I still believe that you should check your content when it actually goes out. There could be a typo, there could be a glitch on something, just how the image or video was formatted. So it's always great to catch that early, just in case. If at all possible, always respond to those comments that come in right away. You want to show your audience that you do care and value their feedback. I usually try and respond to comments right away in the first kind of 30 minutes. And then of course, get back to work, do other things you have to do. And then I'll check again a few hours later and do another batch of responding to comments then. And of course, even if you're scheduling your content in advance, still be checking in on your social media channels daily. If you're truly off out of cell range too, no problem at all. Everyone's entitled to have time away. If you're going to be away for more than a few days, I always like to just have my VA or somebody else I trust kind of just do a quick check on my channels to make sure that nothing has come up there that would really require someone's attention. If you've enjoyed this training, I've got 2 other digital training courses that I would love to tell you about. The first one is Captions That Convert. This is the companion to your free content calendar. If you love the free content calendar and you love all the writing prompts in there, but wish there was a way somebody else could write them for your business, this is it. This is basically another Google Sheet that has 150 plug and play captions ready to go, already broken down in the exact same format as the content calendar. So they're going to match the content pillars. They're already filled out with examples for each businesses, and you can basically pick and choose which ones are going to work best for you. In addition to the amazing template that comes with it, there's lots of digital training that goes with it in terms of how to write the best possible way for Instagram, especially so that you can connect and convert with your audience. Another way to grow on Instagram, Reels. I know we're not talking about Reels here today, but part of your content plan should include Reels. If you're looking on how to get started, what some tips are, how to stand out with Reels, this mini training is for you. It's a step-by-step guide on how to set up Reels on your phone, where to get started, and where to come up with ideas for inspiration. And of course, I would love to work with you one-on-one. If you've enjoyed this training, but you're not sure where to get started, and maybe you just want someone to give you the content plan of your dreams, that's where I come in. Content planning and strategy is my jam. And if you're looking for questions, of course, please reach out to me at the email below, and I would love to follow up and help you support you in your business. Thank you so much. Here's where you can find me on Instagram at Mountain Top Consulting. And of course, if you already have my content calendar, you'll already be on my email list. For any questions at all, hit me up below, and I'd love to know what you think of the content calendar.